Hi, welcome to CCTV Channel 17's Live at 525, the Preservation Burlington Show. Preservation Burlington is a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and our mission is to preserve and protect the historic architecture and livability of Burlington through education and advocacy. Ideally more education than advocacy, if everything in a perfect world. So tonight I'd like to welcome back Patricia Arroyo, who's been a guest before, who ran the show for how many years?
2, 3.
Oh, I think it was more like 13 or 14. But
It only seemed like that sometimes.
anyway, no, it always does, doesn't it?
It always does, yeah.
I know. Thanks for being on the show. I know you were on before, and we talked about your whole social media, apparatus and presence and traveling for history. So, do you want to just give viewers bring them up to speed again on what that all is?
Sure. So my YouTube channel is called Traveling for History, 1 L in traveling. If I ever do another name for a show, I will not have something where I have to keep telling people how to spell a word.
Right.
But so I'm also, everywhere else, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, I'm also at Traveling for History with the 1 L. And on Twitter, I'm Traveling for High 1, so Traveling for HI, numeral 1.
Okay.
I know, Traveling for History was too long.
Oh yeah, of course. Too many characters.
Too many characters.
Yep. So now, how long have you been doing that?
I just had an anniversary. I'm starting my 3rd year.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you've been everywhere. Where have you been since you were on last? Or wait, what are some of your recent favorites?
Great question. I sent some photos over much earlier today on a covered bridge and let's see, a regular bridge. But the covered bridge has this. All right, so let me just start with this.
Yeah.
So this is officially the Cambridge Junction covered bridge. And it's also known as the Junction covered bridge, but originally it was the Poland covered bridge. So why was it called the Poland covered bridge? Who was this Poland guy? Well, he was Luke P. Poland, who was a lawyer and then became the Chief Justice of the Vermont Supreme Court. He became a representative and then a senator in the U.S. Congress. So he was...
Around when?
So the late 1800s.
Late 1800s?
Yeah. So when he retired, he came back to Vermont. I think he was in Waterville. I don't see it here, but my cheat sheet is in front of me here. So the people in Waterville and next town, so the next town over from the Poland covered bridge is Waterville, and the next town after that is Belvedere. And the people in those two towns wanted a shorter way to get to where the bridge is now, and that's because Cambridge Junction was a significant railroad junction in the 1800s. In fact, I want to say this right because 2 different rail lines were there. It was where the Vermont division of the Portland and Ogdensburg met the Burlington and Lamoille Railroad.
Okay.
I know.
So they wanted to be able to get to the train
in a shorter period of time. Yeah. So to accomplish this, they needed a bridge and a road to get there. So they approached Cambridge, the town of Cambridge, and Cambridge said no. And the reason they said that made sense really. Most of their residents would not benefit from the bridge, and it would raise taxes. And speaking as a person who has property taxes, nobody wants more taxes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Never a popular selling point.
Never a popular selling point. But Judge Poland took this on in his retirement project, and he sued the town of Cambridge.
Oh.
And won. The cost of the bridge was estimated that was going to cost between $6,000 and $10,000. And just to get an idea of what that is in equivalent to today's dollars, $6,000 in 1880 would be equivalent to about $176,000, and 10 grand would be just over $293,000 in today's dollars. So not chump change by any stretch of the imagination, but they still had to build it. So it's named Poland Covered Bridge for him. Now, if you're thinking that once they built this thing, he was the first to dance through it. And,
right. Cut the ribbon,
a victory
and
dance.
Skip and hop, and yeah.
Unfortunately, he died before it was finished.
Oh, geez.
I know, he died in his hayfield. But
so, quick question before we go on to another one of your, because I want to hear about the other bridge. But so, how do you get your ideas? do you do research first, then you go see the thing? Do you stumble on a bridge like this, and then you're like, oh, I got to get the backstory to this? How does that generally happen?
So generally, I typically film buildings or structures. Bridges are considered structures on the National Register of Historic Places. That's one place I look. I like cemeteries, so I'd like to go walking in the cemetery.
They're great.
Less so this time of year. And then I sometimes talk about people because sometimes I find interesting stories along the way. Historic markers, I like them a lot. War memorials, I love them. I will say that historic marker videos and war memorial videos are not well watched, but I like them, so I still film them.
So keep doing them, yeah.
Yeah, so
It's a chunk of history.
it's a chunk of history, and you learn the darndest things from historic markers. I was driving through Montpelier and saw this state marker, so found a place to park on grass somewhere, and it was a historic marker about this area in North Montpelier that was an industrial area. You wouldn't tell that now. I did see some buildings I thought looked like boarding houses, which would make sense considering it was
Right,
an
it's
industrial
probably
area.
worker housing, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I hope the people at the state are listening, because I know they wonder when they put those markers up if anybody stops and reads them.
Well, I'm not the only one, but I belong to a whole bunch of Facebook groups, and for the most part, I forget which ones I belong to. I tend to, because I
Same
post.
here, yeah.
I post my videos to the appropriate groups, and where was I going with that? So,
Markers, historic markers.
That's right, thank you. So I noticed, I went and looked up state historic markers thinking there must be a group for that, not one in Vermont on Facebook. And I thought about starting one, but oh my gosh, one more thing.
Yeah, just another Facebook group to then moderate.
But then moderate, yeah, and administer and all that. Do I want that headache?
Yeah, they are, but they are fun. I know the one, my boat's at Point Bay Marina. It's a beat up old boat, but I drive that way sometimes, and there's a marker by the train tracks there, and it talks about, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's also buried in Burlington. He was a naturalist, and he's the one that discovered the whale skeletons in Vermont.
Oh, Perkins? Maybe not.
No, I can't remember. It's terrible. I can't remember anything. But I remember driving by there, and I saw a mention of the whale tail. So I, like you, I pulled over. I got out and said, what the heck? Because I was about to play this character in a cemetery tour that Preservation Burlington was going to do in that fall. And I read it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's this guy. This is where he found those skeletons. And then, he was from Burlington. It was pretty interesting story. So, okay, so you're really you're scanning things for something historic, or as you're driving around and you see older historic buildings or markers, you stop, and then you do the research, because I know you videotape these, right?
Oh, yes.
So do you just hop out and start talking with a selfie stick, or do you research it and then go back? What do you do?
Well, it depends. If it's really far away, I always hope I have enough research done ahead of time, because driving 2 hours one way that's a lot. And I don't typically drive 2 hours. I was meeting a friend down 2 hours away from me, but I do drive an hour and a half fairly regularly. But the reason I found the backstory on this was because the original posting. So when I look at the National Register stuff, it's typically through Wikipedia, which is a great starting point. Sometimes that's all I use, but sometimes it leads to more things. And there was a really, in fact, I do have it right here. So this is from Wikipedia, and it said, not everyone was pleased with the new bridge, as noted in a newspaper article on June 15, 1887. Quote, Judge Poland has caused the town of Cambridge to be inflicted with a bridge and a road at an expense of $6,000 to $10,000, which, as shown, will be of no material benefit to anyone but himself. It will be known as the Poland Bridge, except to the taxpayers of Cambridge, who will christen it the Bridge of Sighs. Unquote. Who doesn't love that? So maybe do research. What is this? And there we have it. Pretty amazing. Story, but and actually that bridge has a state historic marker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's such a treasure. Covered bridges, I know through Vermont and New Hampshire and Maine, the covered bridges. Even upstate New York has a bunch still, but it's one of those things where you don't see them Shelburne Museum, I get to cross one every day, several times a day. And I know they're just really interesting. The different builders, there were a handful of builders working all over New England, putting them up. Getting their $6,000 to $10,000 to.
Yeah, that's, and actually if I could show another piece of this bridge, let's see.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so this actually has two truss systems in it. It has a king post truss and a burr arch truss. So either truss would have handled the load and the stability. So the load, when I say load, the deck, whatever is crossing the deck, it needs to hold up to that. And then the structure, the stability of making sure it stays in place without leaning and things like that. Either truss would have held it perfectly fine and it carried the load, but by combining them, it's guaranteed.
Very overbuilt. Very overbuilt.
Overbuilt, yes. And then there was a moment, let's see, in 1995, a vehicle struck one of the king posts. It was leaning, don't you know? But when this truck hit the king post, it straightened out the lean. But it damaged the king post, so the structural integrity had been compromised.
So they repaired it, I imagine.
They replaced the decking with steel I-beams underneath, and then replaced the wood planking, and then behind the trusses there are steel plates.
Okay.
And the burr arch truss that's there is, I think there are only 9 covered bridges left in Vermont that have a burr arch truss.
I want to say, where's this?
Jeffersonville.
Jeffersonville?
Yep.
The one at the museum is a burr arch truss from, I can't remember, I think Cambridge. I'm not sure.
It is from Cambridge.
It is from Cambridge.
I didn't remember. It's funny, I filmed that one, but I wasn't able to walk in all the way.
Oh, okay.
It was locked.
Oh, you
Museum
can
was
jump
closed.
over the fence. Nobody will do anything. There is a hidden camera.
There was a hidden camera, I'm
but
sure.
just drop my name and you'll be fine.
So Ron said that. Okay.
Yeah, he said
He was close to retirement, but now.
That's right.
Yeah, and then I have one more picture of the burr truss. Oops. Did I get that right? Yeah.
So the light was up high, you know, the openings were up high, and this is, I was told, mostly so horses wouldn't be afraid crossing the bridges, right?
Oh, really? I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, so, because, you know, mid to late 1800s, getting a horse to walk across a bridge up over a thing was tricky then. So the bridges are often covered three-quarters of the way up so that they can't see anything and they just go across.
Oh, well, that's an interesting thing. I'll have to remember that.
I could be making it up, but I think that's what I've read.
Well,
so what's this other bridge that do you have pictures of this other bridge
I
you
do.
mentioned?
I do, absolutely.
With this regular bridge?
Well, yeah. Just a moment. Oops. Yep. So there's this bridge here. This, I know. I wanted to include this. I don't want to talk about the truss overall, but the bridge is beautiful. If you ever have an opportunity to be crossing a bridge as a passenger, because if you're driving like I usually do, you know, trying to do this is awkward and dangerous. But anyway, this is the Douglas and Jarvis parabolic. There's a Douglas and Jarvis patent parabolic truss iron bridge, because it's a nice long name. It is on the National Register of Historic Places, and yes, it has an historic marker as well. Not all National Register sites have the marker, the state historic marker. So
That's pretty neat.
I love the that piece at the top that tells you who built it.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a clear picture of that. I don't.
It's very steampunk, the bridge.
It is. Well, it's iron too.
I'm guessing turn of the century again, late 1800s, early
1887, same year,
1887.
same year as the covered bridge, actually.
Yep.
Let's see. So, William Douglas was from Binghamton, New York, and his bridge used less metal than conventional trusses. So, without sacrificing strength. So the lower cost and distinctive shape contributed to its success. Let's see. I know I have a picture from the side, and there we go.
Oh, wow.
That is a parabolic truss, because it looks like an eyeball.
Yeah. I like the crenellation behind the placard up top. Yeah, there's just a lot of ornamentation for
Oh, it's fancy dancy.
for what's ostensibly just a utilitarian structure, you know.
Yes.
Pretty neat.
And it's actually in, well, it's two bridges married together, so to speak. So the big part that we see, that's with the upper layer there, that's the parabolic truss bridge. And then there's a pony truss, the one that we see to the left.
Oh, yep. Okay.
And what I love about a pony truss, I love always and never because I hardly ever get to say those. But I had read that a pony truss will always be a low bridge and will never have any superstructure over it because it's low.
Oh, of course, right. So you have to be able to pass right through it with whatever you're driving, horse and buggy or Mack truck.
Well, Mack truck could probably, I'm not sure about the width, but
Right.
but yeah, the bridge is gorgeous, and that's why I wanted to include it because it's not. It's I just found it really interesting. It's a pedestrian bridge now. They stopped traffic, and I want to say 1976. What you don't see in this picture is to the right of it is I think it's a dam because when I was there were falls going over it.
Ah, okay.
And there's big signs warning people not to swim near
No
there.
swimming, right.
Yeah.
That's always good advice. Don't swim near the dam.
One would think, yeah. So
Have you seen, I know Bob McCullough was on one because he did the bicycle book, and then I think prior to that he did one on bridges.
Oh, wow.
So I had him on here. So, and it also it runs a gamut from the covered bridges all the way through these iron bridges up into the, mid 21st century, I guess, up to 1950s.
wow.
Just because this structural engineering was adapting and changing so rapidly, it was just, they're really interesting,
They are really interesting. They're beautiful. I mean, we're talking form and function. It's,
Right.
Yeah, it makes. Yeah, that's just a beautiful bridge, and the yes, the cresting behind it. Behind
Yeah.
the,
Yep. Very
name.
Victorian. Very Victorian. So what other stuff besides bridges do you love?
War memorials, actually.
Yep.
My favorite one thus far was the one I saw in Cornwall, Vermont. They're typically at the town green.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's right across from the town hall. Now, the town hall in Cornwall is on the National Register. And I filmed that. And while I was up there, I had a few other things to film. It's kind of nice sometimes when they're all close together. So the town hall was right there. The former parsonage was right there across the street. So the town green's in the center, with the parsonage, the town hall, easy peasy. I'll just cross the
memorial.
street now.
Yeah.
So,
So in a situation like that, while you're filming for your YouTube channel, is that 3 episodes that you're getting at one time?
yeah, because the State Historic Marker may be on the bridge, but that's a separate video. Gotta love that.
Yeah, yeah. So how long does something like that take you when you're out in the field? How much time do you allot for, you go to a town green like that's on the historic register and you've got like 3 cool things to look at and talk about in video. How long does that take?
It takes as long as I can read it without saying stupid things and then having to start over again. Or looking at it and not even knowing what I'm reading. That's awful. Because if I don't say it right, other people are just going to think it's hollow. Maybe they won't, but
it's not going out live, is it?
No.
Okay, because I was going to say you have opportunity. Just make it long and you can edit, right, when you get home.
I don't know how to edit from the center.
Oh, okay.
So I would have to chop it up into pieces and yeah, no.
Gets complicated.
It does, and I'm lazy. So, well, I also have, the most I've ever filmed in one day was 19 videos, and 17 made the cut.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I had no more voice.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, that was up in Sheldon, Vermont, and I had no more voice. I couldn't actually film anything for a few days because I was kind of talking like this. Like I smoked a pack of cigarettes in
Or like The
in half an hour.
Godfather. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, Michael, what do you think?
Yeah. So that's a full day of taping.
Oh, yeah, that was, when I filmed the high school that day, I was filming at 8:30 in the morning, and then I like to drive as far out as I'm going to start, and then film heading back home.
Yeah.
So, and then I filmed until sun was setting. Yeah, that was a very long day.
Yeah.
I don't even remember how many videos I got out of it that day, but I didn't have to go out for a while. Yeah, and that was when I was in Calais filming. That was the worst dirt road I've ever been on in my life.
Washboard.
It was no, it was mud.
Just mud, really?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I have a newer car now.
I was going to say, what are you driving these days?
It's a 2011 Toyota Highlander.
Oh, okay.
So it's a base model,
Yep.
much fancier base model than my last car was. which has traction control, four-wheel drive all the time,
Yeah.
and a snow gear.
A snow gear.
Snow gear.
What's a snow gear?
Better than drive.
Really?
I don't know. It seems to work better in snow. But my car I didn't have it in snow gear, but my car was sliding to the right towards the trees where there are never guardrails. How much are guardrails? They can't put guardrails on these
Yeah,
on
no,
these
they're too
roads.
much money. They are.
They are too much money.
More than $6,000 to $10,000 probably.
Yeah, it's kind of, that was kind of scary. But putting in snow gear I'm not one to pray, but I was praying that, because my next stop on that same road, don't remember the name of it, was downhill. And then, there was the fear of getting down the hill and being able to stop when I got down there,
Yep.
and being able to get
You're
back
right,
up
turning
the
around
road.
and coming back.
Yeah, so because driving up the hill, I was sliding off to the right as well. So it was just, and the locals, it's fun to watch the locals whoosh, whoosh.
Yeah.
I think I'll just do 5 and hopefully I get through this.
They know what to expect, and they're riding the
do.
slide. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so,
it's good though. It sounds like you can get almost anywhere now with your new truck.
and I feel like I can get to strange places that my car would have said, "Are you kidding? No, I'm a show car."
Yeah. Right.
But I do want to show the war memorial I was just talking about. It had some interesting things on it that I had not seen before. Oh, that's not, wrong direction. So this is the war memorial itself,
Oh, okay.
and
And where was this again?
Cornwall.
Cornwall.
That's the town green it's sitting on. And it's across the street directly from the town hall. And then you'll notice that there are, so below the pillar there is that four-sided piece which has interesting information, such as this, which is says World War veterans. So this memorial is only the American Civil War and World War I.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't say the Great War. They usually say the Great War, which is World War I.
Right.
So the second name on there is Earl H. Lapeer, who was killed at the Verdun Front November 10, 1918. The other man was also killed
Seems to be around October 1918.
Yeah.
October 13th, it looks like. McClellan.
but November 10, 1918, that is the day before the armistice was signed, which ended the war.
Oh, jeez.
Which, in the scheme of things, we can look at that in hindsight and say, wow, that's terrible.
Right.
That he died the day before, but it was just another day
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah, and it took so long for news to travel. People were fighting for a week afterwards, I'm sure.
I'm sure. And then another, so, let me see. So
Another side of it?
there are, all four sides have writing. And so two of the sides have who was killed in different battles. So I thought that was interesting as well. I mean, I've seen that a lot over time. This one, though, was particularly interesting. This is died in hospital. So, and at the bottom, we have Alva K. Barlow, who was, quote, hung by gorillas.
Oh, gee.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Peck, some famous names. Mayo. I work with a Mayo.
Yeah, there are names I certainly recognized.
Good New England names.
Yeah. And then I just want to also talk about my favorite, the favorite place I had to date I have filmed. And let me just get all the way.
This is all-time favorite?
So far. All right, so this is the place. This is the School Brick House Museum, the Georgia Historical Society Museum in Georgia, Vermont. It was the District Number 8 school. It is on the National Register of Historic Places. I filmed this picture, and where I filmed it, I stood on the side of Route 7. I don't recommend that at all, by the way. That was very scary. Tractor trailers coming by, and I was kind of hoping I wasn't going to get instant weight loss.
Don't step back.
Yeah, instant weight loss. Whoa, suddenly thin. Wrong picture. So So I was talking to Cindy Plouffe, who is the president of the Georgia Historical Society. And when I was there, she just suddenly started this impromptu tour of the place.
Oh, great.
So record, and then she had said that she didn't want to be in the pictures. That's fine. If you watch that video, you'll see her hands because she was pointing at things, and when she was showing off the those bottles you were just seeing, yeah, that was part of a barber shop. There's yours truly with a camera.
Scalp treatment, yep, Lucky Tiger.
Yeah, but she had opened one of the doors and she was showing off the linens that were still inside. It was phenomenal.
And this is all within the school building.
Yeah, it's a seasonal operation. It's yeah, they're open every Saturday from July 9 to September, in 1 to 3 p.m.
Oh,
And then they have another building that we're supposed to get together this season. It's not open the way the other building is to the public. You have to schedule an
Special
appointment.
appointment.
Yeah, so she's going to show me that. And it was funny, you know, filming in Franklin County, I filmed 3 different Historical Society museums. The St. Albans Museum, which is an Historical Society museum, the Georgia Historical Society Museum, and the one in Sheldon, their Historical Society Museum. I had never before seen a treadmill that an animal would walk on to make things work until I was at the St. Albans Museum, and then I couldn't stop seeing them.
Oh, right.
But I had never seen them before. The Historical Society Museum in the Winooski one at the mill doesn't have anything like that, and why would it? It was Winooski. But those other 3 sure had it, and I giggled when I was filming the Sheldon Historical Society Museum. It's like, oh my God, another one!
That's fine. I thought those only existed in cartoons. I didn't know.
I know. Where's the anvil too, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But these are some of the places I have filmed, but I do upload every day of the week.
You do?
I do, because I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to film some more from home, because who wants to be out in weather like today? Although, well, how much did we get? 3-4 inches? It wasn't really.
Yeah, something. It was probably a little more, I think. My driveway, I shoveled my roof today because it's a flat roof. And it's generally fine, but there's one spot where if it starts to melt, it'll leak into the house. So I just shovel it off, you know. But yeah, and it was like, it felt like 5 or 6 inches. It was pretty high up there, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, so when you you get your footage, you go home. Do you send an email blast out to anybody? Do you have an idea of how many viewers you have? Because I know on this show we have 3.
Well, I have 386 subscribers to my YouTube channel, and then I'm on Instagram.
Right, the others you tag on all the others. So.
Well, I have, so when most of my videos are premiere videos, which means also all videos go live at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and the ones that say premiere on them have a live chat attached. So it's a chance to talk to yours truly.
Interact, ask questions.
There you go. Interact and ask questions with still yours truly. So although I was asleep for the one that went live this morning, I was fell asleep at 6 p.m. and then
it was a snow day.
Oh, it was a snow brain. But anyway, I am usually awake, and we do chat, and it lasts as long as a video is live.
Fun.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, it sure can be. So yeah, there's that, and then so before that goes live, I post to Facebook. I have my personal Facebook, and then my Traveling for History one.
Yep.
I post to Instagram. I post to TikTok.
Well, I think, you know, before HGTV scoops you up, or the National Geographic TV scoops you up, I want to keep inviting you back just so you can fill us in on some of the stuff you've seen between times we've sat down. I know if we had more time, it'd be fun to have you just come in here and do 5-10 minutes of the latest, greatest thing you've done, you know. But thanks again, Patricia. It's always a pleasure having you on the show.
Well, thanks for having me. It's always fun to come back.
It's always fun. It's always fun. And I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to CCTV live at 5:25 in the Preservation Burlington show. For more information on Burlington history, our tours, events, to get a marker for your historic house, go to preservationburlington.org, and we'll see you next month. Thanks, everybody.